Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining. This channel is called Forever Porty, and the name of the channel is a bit of a homage to my hometown of Portland, Jamaica. Very special place to me, and so I wanted to always remember that place. Thank you so much for joining. Today we are going to talk about breath and the importance of breath. So I would like to start this video out by saying that I am not a breath expert. I am not a breath work professional, etc., etc., all the disclaimers, right? But from my personal experience, one of the top three things in this life that I learned, maybe much later on than I should have, was about the importance of breathing. Even not just the importance of breathing, but how to breathe, and that there are different types of breathing. To be fair, I have heard about breath work. I think when I was growing up as a young lady, it was something that came into my sphere, and I heard about breath work, right? But I usually attributed it to yoga, which I would say is typically how it is represented on the Western media. People that do yoga, right? It's about breathing and breathing and breathing. And I have heard it attributed with other things as well. Maybe, people who go, there's a term for it, but when people go really deep diving in the ocean, I know that that takes a lot of breath work, and there are other things as well. But I used to, because I heard it associated with those activities, and I was not part of those activities. I thought, well, that's what those people need to do. But later on, the more I grew up, the more I learned, oh, everyone needs to be doing this. So I was the other day thinking about a situation, and I was trying to make a decision. I don't even remember the details of the situation right now, which actually even proves my point, but I will not digress. And in the situation, there was some emotion going on in the situation, and I was trying to make a decision. And I just stopped, and a thought came to my head and said, what decisions would you make if you stopped and took a breath? Actually wrote it down. So let me reread. What decisions would you make after taking a deep breath? What decisions would you make after taking a deep breath? And just asking myself that question slowed down time a bit and gave me some time to say, that's a good question, self. That's a good question. Good job. What decisions would you make? And after I asked myself that question, I took a deep breath, and I realized that I calmed down. My mind wasn't racing, my mind wasn't as anxious. My emotional level was even calm as well, calmer than when I started. And I felt like the choices that I was looking on before I took this breath seem to be different. Now I feel like I have different choices. But the question is, did I not have those choices before? Did I not see them? Were they harder to see? Well, technically the choices always existed, but maybe my ability to pick up on those choices and on those options wasn't very strong ability to do that because I was in either panic or anxiety or fear or running off of some survival programming. So I really implore, and this is something I need to do myself also, is continuing to do breath work, whatever that means to you. Taking the time out every day to deep breathe for 1 minute, 2 minutes, and then you can extend and extend. If you want to learn and get into yoga, that's great. Or other practices that involve the use of breath work. I know that Tai Chi involves the use of breath work. I believe Qigong as well. Um, and I believe some ways a bit of martial arts involve the use of breath work. At least some martial arts do. But I really, really cannot recommend this even more. Um, when you think about someone's birthday, it's like, oh, you want to give them a gift. Oh, what did you get me? And this is the gift I would want to tell someone: learn how to breathe. They might be like, what kind of gift is this? Oh my gosh, right? But I mean, it's so important, it's so valuable to learn about how the lungs work, how to engage your diaphragm so that you're breathing from deep down instead of just doing shallow breathing. And when I think about it now as I'm speaking, I really should have been aware about the importance of deep breathing because I used to sing. I used to be in the choir and I would sing and sing and sing and sing, practice, rehearsals, and it was very important that your breathing was proper, right? You wanted to make sure to be able to hold those notes. For me, my voice has a natural vibrato, so I was trying to manage that vibrato and not make it so, try to make it, more of a stable note. That requires deep breathing, taking in deep breaths. So as I'm talking, I realize that, wow, this breathing thing really has been part of my life. But once again, I associated it with a certain activity, the same way that I associated it with yoga or people that go um, deep sea diving or people that go spelunking or not spelunking, people that go deep sea diving. Um, or other things that required that. It was usually associated with an activity, with a hobby, with a task, and not just everyday living. And to be fair, I do think it is important to teach people about breathing, to teach people about breath. I think that's something that should be taught to young kids at a very young age, as early as you can teach them about breathing and about breath, because it's a great habit. It's a great habit. I'm not saying it's something that you cannot learn later on in life. It most definitely is. But if you're able to pick up this habit from an early age, it begs the question, how would our life be different? How would my life be different if I learned how to breathe? How would my life be different? Not just life in terms of how would it have turned out, but how could my experiences have been different? How, in terms of how I perceived situations, how I processed situations, how I responded to situations, how would my body, not just my mental state or emotional state, but how would my body also be different? Would my body be different? Would my body be in the same space of health that it is now? Or would I have improved health compared to what I have now? I'm not saying I have bad health, but could it even be more improved? So I highly recommend it for anyone, any parents, or anyone who would like to be a parent, or even if you're a sibling, an aunt, a niece, a nephew. Really look into breath work and try to be a role model if you can for your kids, for your cousins, for your nieces, for your nephews, for your siblings, because it's so important to calm our nervous system down by breath. And without breath, we cannot do anything in life. I think that's safe to say, right? Hopefully, that's safe to say and something everyone can agree on. We need breath in this physical life that we live. And I like to ask people this question: what is the first thing that you do every morning when you wake up? Usually I get answers: oh, I check my phone, I drink a cup of water, I lay in bed for a while, And I tell them, nope, nope, nope. Any answer they give me, they say, the first thing I do is I go to the bathroom. No. The first thing I do is I brush my teeth. No. First thing I do is I wash my face. Nope. Could always almost make a song out of it, right? But really, the first thing that you are doing is you're breathing. You're taking a breath. You're inhaling and you're exhaling. Because without inhale and exhale, you cannot reach for your phone. Or you can try to reach for your phone, but you probably won't be able to hold on to it. You probably won't be able to grab it. So, breath is the first thing. And breath is associated with resting. Breath and rest go together. Not rest like, oh, I'm sleeping all day, but breath as in, let's take a moment. Speaking of, let's take a moment in this video. Just that alone can really shift a lot. There are many different types of breathwork techniques. I like the one where you breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold it for 4 seconds, and you breathe out for 4 seconds. But if you cannot do that, do what you can. If you can only breathe in for 2 or for 3, do that. And hold it for 2, 3, do that, and let it out for 2 or 3, do that. Sometimes we have to build up. And if we try to match someone that has been breathing for a while, maybe they can draw a breath for 6 seconds, and we're just like, hello. How do you do that? I can't. That's okay. Do what you can do. Because whatever you can do, you will be able to do more. Or you could be able, I can't speak for everyone, but you could be able to do with more time and more practice of the breath work. So I really, really encourage every single one, regardless of your age, gender, your cultural identity, any identity that you might hold, and every identity. Breathing is so important. It's going to calm you down, and not necessarily put you in a rest, like put you to sleep, but when we watch a baby sleep, or if we watch an animal sleep, it can be one of the nicest things. There's just something about watching, especially a baby when they sleep, right? Because oh, they sleep so well. They're just sleeping very well. There's something about sleeping very well. And I know I'm not talking about sleep, I'm talking about breathing, but sleep has to do with resting. And breathe is a way of telling yourself, rest. Take a moment, take a rest. Take a rest of your thoughts, take a rest of talking. Take a rest from either movement. Take a rest from your mental activity. And some people, they like to do visualizations with breath work. Maybe they say, I'm breathing in joy, or I'm breathing in sunlight. I am breathing out toxicity, and I'm breathing out stress. So that you can do that as well. But also just simply starting with breath is just so important, so important. And I wish if I had a school system or influence on the education system, that is what I would suggest, is for the school systems to have breath work taught before classes, before the start of every class, maybe at the end of classes even. Not just school, I would say the workplace, but school is a good place. I think also correctional facilities as well, for all age groups, for juvenile, places that host juvenile individuals, and places that host people that are maybe considered adults and not in the juvenile system, doing breath work there. And this is, I'm not saying anything new. This is something that has been done, bringing yoga into some prison systems and the changes that occur because of that. So I really, really encourage you, get into breathing. Get into breathing. It sounds like a weird thing to tell a person because you can just go, oh, duh, obviously I already breathe. So why do I have to get into breathing? But sometimes there are things that are familiar to us, but they might have different layers to it, different levels. And we are unfamiliar with the different levels that are there that could be helpful to us, helpful in calming us down, helpful in regulating our nervous system, helpful in taking us out of survival mode and panic mode. And that is your wonderful breath. Which, by the way, as Louise Hay says, we don't know how much breath we will have, but we trust that it will be there for us. So, can you trust that whatever decision you are trying to make or whatever you are thinking about, if you took the 4 seconds to breathe in, 4 seconds to hold the breath, and the 4 seconds to breathe out, that's about 12 seconds total. Can you trust that in that time, that life and the creator, God, the source of life, will still keep looking out for you, right? Life is not going to just disappear on you just because you took 12 seconds to breathe. Other people might have impatience about you breathing, but that's their impatience. That's not on you. So if you can, I'm not saying we can always have 12 seconds to make a decision. Sometimes people want an immediate decision, but if they can give you 12 seconds, then who knows? My original question was, what decisions would you make after taking a deep breath? I wish you all the best. So, all the best with your breathing and your breath work. I really implore you to look into it. It really can be a life changer and could even be a life saver in terms of how it impacts our health for the better, or maybe even a life extender, one could say, or even quality of life improver. All of the above. So I wish you all good things. Thank you so much for checking this video out, for listening to me share my thoughts on life. If you learned something, if you like something, if you love something, those 3 L's, go ahead and subscribe and like the video, and also share this video as well. And if you are having a birthday, happy birthday to you. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope that your birthday and your personal year, because your birthday starts the start of a new year, is filled with an abundance of love, health, wealth, joy, and peace. Thank you so much for checking this video out. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye for now. Bye. Remember to breathe. Bye.